it start with stepmother.
And it is from the experience and the challenges of the step family life when I realized that it is actually different that motivated me to start the blended family network.
Tena challenge inakuwa kubwa sana kama spouse si supportive. Na ndio spouse akuwe supportive, spouse anakuwa katikati. Alali huku sana na pande hii sana.
How do you even know that you are becoming a stepchild? In African homes, you just wake up one day and you're told, wacha kuita huyo auntie. Sasa ni mom.
That is the truth. Yeah.
Sasa anza kuita uncle.
Huyo ni baba sasa, na huyo ni mama, true.
Nobody prepares you for the step family living.
Ni shule ambayo mtazamaji ni miongoni mwa shule bora nchini. Matokeo yake yamekuwa yakiimarika kila uchao.
Pangani sauti zao safi za kumtoa nyoka pangoni.
Haina haja tukosane, kisa shamba, gari, nyumba, vyote dunia imegeuka, matapeli wamejaa.
Mvunja nchi ni mwananchi na mjenga nchi ni mwananchi.
Kulingana na katiba yetu ya Kenya, wananchi ndio wenye nguvu.
Sisi wananchi tunaweza kujiletea maendeleo ama pia kujiletea majanga.
Toto huitazama kisogo cha ninaye.
Viongozi wanapata huo uongozi kwa njia isiyofaa kabisa.
Viongozi hivyo basi ndio chanzo cha majanga ambayo yanatukumba hapa nchini.
Bainisha sauti mbili aina ya liquidi.
Sauti liquidi ni R na L.
Well, it is exactly a minute past the hour on this chilly afternoon of the 11th of July 2024. Welcome to our broadcast. This is KBC's Lunchtime News. My name is Abdiaziz Hashim. The sign language interpreter at the bottom end of the screen is Lensa Odingo. We had dispatched our reporters to various corners of this country to bring you the latest from their respective ends, from the National Cohesion and Integration Commission to the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission, which has, of course, joined other nations in marking to commemorate the African Anti-Corruption Day, with the calls for the country to strengthen the Whistle Protection Act if the war on graft has to be won. We have that and so much more. So stick around for the next 1 hour or so to get the latest as well in the world of business and sports. Talk to us on our social media platforms at KBC Channel 1 and at Abdiaziz Hashim 1. And we want to start this coverage in Embu County, where Embu County Commissioner, that is Jacob, has granted a 1-week amnesty to residents in possession of stolen items fraudulently acquired during the anti-finance bill protest. Now, during the protest, the Kenya Revenue Authority Northern Region offices in Embu County were vandalized and property destroyed. The county commissioner said 23 individuals have been charged in connection to 16 incidences across the county. He added that security agencies are narrowing down on other perpetrators.
Hatutapunish watu kwa sababu walishiriki kwa maandamano. But wale walishiriki kuharibu mali ya umma, wale walishiriki kupora mali ya watu binafsi na businesses, hawa wote, on top of wale 23 ambaye wako kotini, leo umeona tuko case moja. Ukienda Chicago, tuko na cases. Wale walipora mali ya one of the businessmen uko pande ya Kiritiri.
And as I informed you earlier, I want to take you to an event that happened a while ago where Kenya has joined other nations in the world to commemorate the Africa Anti-Corruption Day with a call to strengthen whistle protection if the war on graft is to be won. And of course, who was speaking was the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission Chairperson Bishop Dr. David Ogende has called on members of the public to give their views on the proposed whistleblower protection bill so as to have a document that fully addresses the mechanisms of dealing with grafts. Let's listen in to what the bishop had to say earlier on during that particular conference.
Thank you. The conflict of interest bill was intended to deal with issues of conflict of interest within all public agencies so that a person who is working within government should not at the same time trade with government, because that is how you find inflation of costs and prices of goods and services, because the person who is supplying is also the person who is procuring. So they can raise the price of a commodity to the highest level. You know, you used to find even a pen, which is 50 shillings, is being sold for 5,000. It's not because there was no due diligence, but because the person who is selling is also the person who is buying. So that is what brings conflict of interest, and it goes all the way to road construction and all other kinds of services. So this bill was to stop that kind of conduct within government, so that people who are supplying to government should be independent people, and the people who are procuring should be independent, and therefore there would be a way in which we can get value for money. That was the intention. But now when the bill came into Parliament, several clauses were changed so that it defeats the original purpose. And this is what we are engaging with Parliament, both the National Assembly and the Senate, so that the bill can still have the original objective of controlling matters of procurement, tendering within government, so that resources, public resources, are not lost to people who are supplying to government. That is basically our request, not request, but our ask to Parliament and both houses, so that we can get a bill that actually will deal with those issues of procurement.
And Chairman, you've sounded so frustrated.
And earlier on, our reporter Timothy Kipnusi was talking to the chair, that is Bishop David Ogende, and will file a comprehensive report in our subsequent bulletins. To other news now, where senior government officials have been directed to adhere to high standards of integrity and be accountable for their actions. Prime Cabinet Secretary, that is Musalia Mudavadi, says demonstrations by the youth were an indictment of how public officers conducted their lives, including open display of opulence and corruption. Mudavadi, who is also the Foreign and Diaspora Affairs Cabinet Secretary, says that the youth want to see more inclusive government, is sensitive to the emerging issues affecting them, which include the high cost of living and the lack of employment opportunities. He spoke when he chaired the inaugural National Development Implementation Committee, NCIC, where he underscored the need to pay attention to the voices of the people as a means of rejuvenating the people-based approach.
This joint NDIC comes at a defining moment in the history of our country. For the first time, our young people, or the so-called millennials and Gen Zs, have exercised their constitutional right to canvass our parliament to reject the Finance Bill 2024, demanding better governance and service delivery to the people. They have called us out with a particularly strong message to the government that they are not feeling us. In some instances, we gave them the ammunition to fight back by showing off our opulence, maybe corruption, and wasteful use of public resources.
Now, a family from Likoni, Mombasa County is decrying intimidation in their pursuit for justice following the defilement of their 3-year-old daughter by a 16-year-old boy when she was just 1 year and 10 months old. Halima Mudhoni, the mother of the minor, has also expressed frustrations in expediting the case, which was reported June last year. Halima says that on that fateful day, she was carrying out her house chores when she heard the cries of her child who was playing in a nearby vacant room, only to find her stained with blood and the accused hastily leaving the scene. She says her attempt to seek justice for her child has been frustrated as the case is dragging in the courts and her life is also in danger. On their part, human rights activists noted that they will not relent until the family gets justice.
Baada ya mimi kutoa ushahidi niliambiwa nisiende tena kotini. Na sijaenda kotini, lakini baada ya kukaa nilisema acha nifuatilie njoo kesi inaendeleaje. Nilienda, nilimkuta mwanamke mmoja mweusi mnono hivi. Aliniambia huyo kijana haezi fungwa. Haezi fungwa hata nikifanya nini. Kwa sababu nataka haki ya mtoto wangu. Mtoto wangu ni mdogo na ameharibiwa maisha. Na mimi mwenyewe natishiwa maisha. Naambiwa, nishaambiwa mara nyingi nihame, nimehama mtaa, kila mtaa ninaoenda wale vijana bado wananifuata.
Sisi hatuwezi kubali injustice. Hii ni human right violation, kuona mtoto amebakwa na watu ambao watakana walinde haki za watoto, wana interfere na kesi za watoto.
And in other news, the National Cohesion and Integration Commission was currently addressing members of the Fourth Estate in regards to the summons they issued yesterday, one against the Dadaab Member of Parliament, that is Farim Maalim, over his remarks that he made in a video that went viral. Let's listen in to the chair who spoke a while ago to the members of the Fourth Estate.
NCIC has been doing regarding the persons who have uttered, whose utterances are considered to be in the category of hate speech or contravention of any other aspect of the act that created the NCIC. We wanted to have this status explained because there have been many requests to NCIC by Kenyans of different stations on what we are doing in making sure that the country does not slip into anarchy and chaos. And as NCIC Act clearly specifies, NCIC has that mandate of dealing with the cases that are likely to cause a breach of peace and cohesion and harmony within the communities and Kenya in general. As a commission, we have received 67 cases, out of which 43 are under various stages of investigations. 2 cases before court. 13 cases have been concluded, and 13 others conciliated as provisions of NCIC Act of 2008. In regards to social media platforms, the Commission flagged out 44 cases on discrimination, 24 cases on incitement, 6 cases on hate speech, 94 cases on misinformation, and 68 cases on disinformation. And this makes a total of 268 cases. Now, we want to address to particular individuals that have been summoned following what they uttered. Dura Waruinge was summoned on 14th June, and he appeared at the NCIC offices here at Brigham House at 10 a.m. And the offense for which we summoned him is ethnic or racial contempt contrary to Section 62 of the NCI Act. Dura Waruinge appeared. His advocate wrote to, he did not appear. His advocate wrote to the Commission informing us that he was bereaved. So at the material day of 14th June, he did not come, but we agreed that he comes on Tuesday, the 25th June 2024. On this day, operations were on.
Okay, that is the National Cohesion and Integration Commission Chair, that is Dr. Reverend Kobia, informing the members of the Fourth Estate where they are in terms of investigations. There are 268 cases, out of which 67 they received this year. 43 are currently under investigations. 2 are in court. 13 of them have been concluded. And on social media, they have recorded 44 cases on social media on a number of issues or a number of grounds. That is on incitement, discrimination, misinformation and hatred. And on the particular, the Member of Parliament for Dadaab was set to appear before the organization, before the NCIC, is all about incitement, discrimination, misinformation or hatred. Those are some of the particular charges under the NCI Act of 27 and 63 C and E as read together. And of course, we'll duly inform you in our subsequent bulletins. Now, elsewhere, Maendeleo ya wanawake organization has unveiled a 6-member council of the wise to resolve the internal disputes within the organization. The council, which will serve for a period of 3 years, will be led by former MYMO chairperson, that is Phoebe Asio. The council of the wise was integrated in the Constitution after being approved by the executive committees. Now, the organization has also called on all interested candidates for various positions in the upcoming national elections to declare their interest in the ongoing registration exercise.
For Maendeleo, 60 is a good number. We are not complaining about age because our cutoff is 75, and you can serve in any other level beyond that. The patron, who in this case is Mama Phoebe Zibora, comes in as deputizing and former chair. The founding trustees is Mama Joan Mujomba. A former chairman, we have Mama Wilkista Unsando. Personalities from Kenya, we have Mama Kiptanui.
Also, Kilifi Women Representative Gertrude Embu has joined residents of Uyombo in Kilifi North Sub-County in opposing a proposed nuclear plant project in the area. Her sentiments come in the wake of a dispute between locals and the Nuclear Power and Energy Agency on the project site. The locals are saying the presence of the plant at the area will have negative effects on their health and lead to their displacement. Last month, several people sustained injuries following protests against the project.
Tunavyojua nuclear plant ikiwekwa mahali lazima wananchi watolewe katika radius ya 30 kilometers, ambaye ni pahali parefu sana, itafika karibia na Kilifi town. Na pia ukisema uko utaleta ajira, hautachukua mwananchi tu hapa aende kufanya kazi ile. Nataka mtu ambaye amesomea, ako na taaluma ya yale mambo. Kwa hivyo pengine mwananchi atakuwa pale kwa siku chache kujenga tu. Baada ya mjengo kuisha, hakuna kazi ambazo zitatokea katika eneo hili. Kidogo tulimsikia seneta akiongea katika vyombo vya habari kuwa anapinga mradi huu. Lakini viongozi wote kuanzia gavana mpaka MCA kujitokeza kusema kuwa huu mradi unakuja kuwa na Kilifi, bado hatujaliona hiyo. Kwa hivyo kama hawatakuja kusalimia wananchi, naona wananchi itafikia wakati na sisi tukawasalimie. Tuulize kunaendelea namna gani.
Niliwaambia siku nyingine, kama wanafikiri watu walikubali waje wafanye ile kitu inaitwa hapa kura ya maoni. Waweke debe. Hapa wende pale Uyombo primary watuwekee debe, Uyombo Girls watuwekee debe. Waangalie watu watapiga no ama yes. Hiyo itamaliza mambo yote hapa. Kwa hivyo sisi tunawaambia hapa waondoke.
Mimi nasema no to nuclear plant in Uyombo, Matangoni, Kilifi North nzima na Kilifi nzima. Na hata Kenya nzima. Yale madhara yamepata zile nchi ziliweza kujaribu kuweka nuclear plant ni makubwa. Sisi hatuwezi. Ni nini wanatafuta? Energy ipi ambao wamejaribu kutapu wakakosa? Jua hili si watapu energy ya jua. Maji ya baharini si wa hydraulic plant waweke tuweze kutapu energy.
To the other devolved units where fear and anxiety have gripped residents of Kayole Estate in Naivasha, Nakuru County following a spate of knife attacks by suspected lone criminals. The criminals, according to the police, targets are mainly women and young children. This and more stories in the newsmaking headlines at the devolved units.
Police in Naivasha are on a trail of a lone criminal who was in the last 2 weeks stabbed over 10 victims, mainly around the head and buttocks, before escaping without stealing anything.
Mimi nilikuwa naenda duka kuendea pampers ya mtoto. Kilikuwa date 27 on Thursday. Mimi kutoka kwa duka nilipatana na jamaa akiwa amesimamisha pikipiki na alikuwa anaongea na simu. Sasa mimi kumpita alirudisha simu na akaanza kunifuata nyuma polepole tu. Kufika mbele yangu alipendusha pikipiki na akakuja akiwa amenidunga hapa kwa macho.
Kukastigate haya maneno, hivi vitendo ambavyo vinafanyika wakati huu hapa Kayole, sababu wengine hata ambao wanadungwa hata ni watoto wa shule. Wanawake saa hii wanaingia kwa nyumba mapema sana.
Elsewhere, a family in Homa Bay County is calling on the members of the public to help them trace their kin who has been missing for the last 2 months. Eric Wasonga Odemba disappeared from his Sophia house in April and his whereabouts to date remain unknown.
Mzee ameishi hapa mwaka 2 na hajamfanyia mtu makosa. Hata mimi sijui mzee ameenda wapi.
And the police at Homa Bay, they have tried what they could. They have done their tracking. And unfortunately, up to date, there is no any tangible information that we've gotten. If anybody can help us to trace where Derek is, then we will appreciate.
Meanwhile, parents from Larry constituency have called on the government to release funds allocated to all public schools and avoid schools increasing fees.
Kuna ile pesa tumepeana na tumesema hakuna kulipa zaidi ya shilingi 2,000 katika shule zetu na hakuna mtoto kufukuzwa kukaa nyumbani. Na tumekubaliana mpaka na DC na chiefs wote. Na nimeambia wazazi, mtoto kama amefukuzwa peleka kwa chief. Chief anarudisha kwa shule. Kwa sababu serikali imelipa shule na ile pesa nyingine ambayo inalipishwa kuna ile ambayo tunaweza kuondokea completely.
Finally, a section of female traders in Maralal, Samburu County are set to benefit after the national government disbursed the National Government Affirmative Action Fund (NGAF) to boost their business.
Tuko na kina mama groups ambaye ni group 7 kupeana tents, kila group inapata 1 tent na capacity ya viti 100 na hizi groups kila moja wametoka kwa one ward, kila ward inapata moja moja.
Kilifi County Government has held a public participation forum with beach operators in the area to try and streamline the sector and have it sustainable. The forum that brought beach environmentalists is to collect views on the plans to formulate an operational law that will guide various activities at the beaches in Kilifi. Key issues to be addressed include claims of harassment of beach operators by county officials.
Kama serikali ya ugatuzi wa Kilifi chini ya uongozi wa Governor Gideon Maitha Mng'aro, tumehakikisha ya kuwa utalii wa Kilifi tutauboresha. Tunataka wageni waongezeke kutoka Mtwapa kuja Kilifi town hadi mpaka Malindi na kupitia zaidi.
Issue tulizungumzia mambo mawili kuhusu license, kwa sababu wakati mwingi hapa Kilifi County, hapa Kilifi town hapa, hizi beach zetu zinakuwa na low season. Kwa hivyo watu wafanyaji kazi wanakaa kama miaka 3-4 bila kwenda kazini. Kwa hivyo inakuwa changamoto kubwa sana wanapotaka kwenda kuchukua license kwa TRA.
Nimesikia raha sana hii concern ya environment na beach, kwa sababu kuna vitu tunatumia kutoka beach zenye tunanunua kutoka mtaani. Sasa zile chupa zenye zinatupwa kule, kama hizi management zinaweza organize mahali kwa kuweka ule uchafu pamoja, sisi zile chupa ni umuhimu kwetu na ni part ya uchafu wenye tunapigania kutoa huko baharini.
"25 minutes past the hour. We take our first commercial break on KBC's Lunchtime News. Don't go too far, we still have more for you.
Unajua, token mita yako inahitaji system update. Ni rahisi na ni free. Ukipata ujumbe kutoka Kenya Power, yani SMS, weka kodi ya kwanza kureset, alafu weke kodi ya pili kuupdate, ili token mita yako iendelee kufanya kazi kama kawaida. Update token mita yako. Ujumbe huu umeletwa kwako na Kenya Power and Lighting Company.
Differently. So today is a day to mark World Lupus Day.
We are looking for a way to create awareness. Lupus exists. It is a rare autoimmune condition, but it does exist. We have so many patients suffering with this condition.
See, people are very quick to judge. When you see my child having a meltdown, you think they're just spoiled. When you see they can't talk, you think they're being rude.
As a Minister for Labour and Social Protection, I'm proud to share that our government is committed to supporting families with special needs children.
'Cause we're differently able.
Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. Talk to us to our social media platforms at KBC Channel 1 and at Abdiaziz Hashim 1. We're still awaiting that particular presidential address that will happen. And of course, we'll be linking up with our reporters who have been sent to that particular briefing. We'll try and talk to that particular notion. You do know that the president is about to speak to the country on a number of issues. We're here to ascertain what the president will be speaking about. But before that, let's continue with our coverage here. Kenya is betting on solar energy to power households and drive industrializations. The National Drought Management Authority, NDMA, says Kenyans should take advantage of the abundant sunlight, especially in the arid and semi-arid areas. Kenya is targeting to increase solar energy for the current less than 100 megawatts to around 600 megawatts by the end of the decade.
Kenya is already a leader in solar power uptake on the continent, with the highest per capita consumption of solar power in Africa. The high uptake of solar power has been driven by multiple factors like cheaper technology for solar panels and abundance of sunlight in the country. So far, Kenya is in the process of constructing major solar power facilities like Samburu Solar Project, Kopere Solar Park in Kisumu, and the Isiolo County Solar Project, all with a combined power output of more than 100 megawatts. The National Drought Management Authority Chief Executive Harid Hassan is urging communities in the arid and semi-arid areas to tap solar power for domestic use.
Tumeona ya kwamba even when we have a genset, it is not only harmful to the environment, but also even it has a lot of maintenance cost. Mambo ya mafuta, breakdown mingi, but ikiwa ni solar ni jua. Na hiyo inafanya hata the cost ya hiyo maji inakuwa ni kidogo sana.
NMDA is also working on various water projects to deal with sanitation issues.
Currently, we don't refer any sick babies. We don't get any sick babies after delivery. And we are happy with that. Our deliveries have gone up. In our morbidity data, most of the infections around Karumo are water-related. That is amoebiasis, cardiasis, those infections that come around water.
Manji, ukulima ule tumeanzisha ni wakulima chakula ya nyumbani kama mahindi, kuna cowpeas, kuna green grams, na pia kuna miti ya matunda, mihogo, miwa na mandisi.
In Kenya, close to 28 million Kenyans lack access to safe water, which means they must rely on pumping from sources like rivers or lakes. Lorraine Chepchirchir for Lunchtime News.
Also, the government is integrating technology in content development to improve the way government communicates to its citizenry. Now, Cabinet Secretary for Information, Communication and the Digital Economy, Eliud Owalo, says that the government is putting digitization of services, including dissemination of information, at the center of its overall digitization agenda.
The government has listed ICT among the key pillars in driving the bottom-up economic transformation agenda by addressing the current challenges facing the country's economy.
In all the strategies and activities that you are going to implement during the period of the strategic plan, please take note of the fact that as a government, we are putting digitalization of services and digitization of records at the center of everything that we are doing.
Speaking during the launch of the Kenya Yearbook Editorial Board 2024-2028 Strategic Plan, Cabinet Secretary for Information, Communications and the Digital Economy, Eliud Owalo, has highlighted the significance of digitization of government services to the country.
To enhance our efficiency and effectiveness, and also to widen the revenue base of all organizations and institutions within the entire framework of government.
Kenyans have also been urged to consume specialized data and informative communication from government agencies like the Kenya Broadcasting Corporation and the Kenya Yearbook.
As a ministry, we really want to rely on the Kenya Yearbook for purposes of content development or content creation for that matter. As we move forward, we look forward to a situation when a Kenya Yearbook can be the single stop for the entire government for purposes of publishing.
So we need to help them to enhance their online platforms, to complement with KBC, for example. You need to work together to communicate government. As you do the radio, you do the online.
Under the 5-year strategic plan, the Kenya Yearbook will focus on research on new methods of communication and publishing to leverage on current trends.
We are looking at how to leverage technology in publishing and research. There are so many softwares, there are so many emerging technologies that make publishing and communication efficient and measurable.
The real McCoy will come in the implementation. And my board and I, we are dedicated to do that.
Alan Naoko, Lunchtime News.
Thank you, Alan, for that report. Now, the government is betting on institutions of higher learning to nurture innovators and boost local production in a bid to reduce imports. Trade and Industry Cabinet Secretary Rebecca Miano is calling on all institutions of higher learning to equip learners with the relevant market skills to scale their innovations and prepare them for the job market.
The government strategy includes equipping young people with skills in cutting-edge technologies like artificial intelligence and other innovations, promoting self-reliance and reducing dependency on imports.
The three-wheeler now, the tuk-tuk.
Trade Cabinet Secretary Rebecca Miano highlighted the collaboration with institutions such as CITEC University to boost their technological ecosystem, including AI, research and developments.
When we produce locally, we create jobs, we improve the economy of the country and the welfare of every citizen. We are committed to supporting innovations that contribute to regeneration.
Miano further says the government is committed to investing in renewable energy, sustainable agriculture, media and digital disruption, and circular economic initiatives. Professor Alice Njuguna, Deputy Vice Chancellor of CITEC University, emphasized the university role in financially supporting new investors and facilitating market access.
What the university is doing is to demystify the same. AI can only create more jobs. I suspect that the cameras you're using here has some element of AI. I'm sure you're going to put filters. That is already AI, right? So for us in the market, it's to look at how we can leverage the power of AI to come up with better products, not to fear it.
Felix Q for Lunchtime News.
And still on AI matters, tech industry players are calling for a review of the existing infrastructure within higher education institutions to allow seamless integration of artificial intelligence AI in classrooms and research hubs. Now, Microsoft Africa Development Center ADC Managing Director Catherine Muranga says there is a need for a private-to-private and public-to-private partnerships to bridge existing infrastructural gaps.
The integration of artificial intelligence promises to reshape industries from finance to healthcare. Players in the tech industry are calling on the government to review existing infrastructure within higher education institutions.
There is no AI research and AI adoption without storage, a lot of storage, because the data you deal with is huge amounts in terabytes, and we also need to have enough compute resources, the GPU clusters and possibly HPC clusters.
Microsoft Africa Development Center Managing Director Catherine Muraga says technology-related skilling will help empower individuals, communities and nations to thrive in the digital age.
Microsoft ADC will continue driving various initiatives from a skilling perspective. It's something we've been very intentional about. So we'll continue to engage faculty, lecturers, training them on use of AI in how they teach, how they come up with lesson plans. Also engaging universities and donating Azure Cloud grants.
But we also are very interested in influencing policy. And most important, we are very interested in influencing the way lecturers adopt AI in research and in their teaching methods. So we are really interested in how AI will transform teaching, learning, and research.
She was speaking during a workshop organized by the Microsoft Africa Development Center in collaboration with the Kenya Education Network to explore the potential of AI to improve teaching, learning and research in higher education. Frederick Muki for Lunchtime News.
And now to the agricultural fields, where sugarcane plantation workers at 3 state-owned millers, namely Muhoroni, Chemelil and Soni, are calling for equitable distribution of 5 billion shillings availed by the government for clearing farmers and workers' arrears. Now, Kenya Union of Sugar Plantation Workers Secretary General Francis Wangara claims Nzoia Sugar Company has been offered more cash than other state-owned millers.
we are taking that the 150 million that is paid to Nzoia marks as a benchmark, as the most minimal amount that should be paid to all the companies. And if they have paid 150 million to Nzoia, they must also pay the other companies 150 million, equal amount to all the companies, so that no company is disadvantaged. When you look at the arrears of the farmers, they paid equally 80% across the board. They have now paid the balance of 20% across the board. They have not discriminated the farmers, and here they are discriminating the workers. It is not right, and we will not accept this, because this is going to cause a rift between the workers, and which we cannot entertain. The government needs popular support, and that popular support cannot come through discrimination. And therefore, we are urging that this amount must be paid to these people equally. The 150 is a benchmark, and it has to be paid to everybody. Or else, we are saying that we are giving you a notice, and I'm giving a notice of 2 weeks to get a proper response to this issue. Failure to which, I will ask these other companies to demonstrate against this issue. That discrimination is very bad.
The county government of Machakos is set to revolutionize agriculture through the integration of advanced technology and strategic partnerships. Machakos Deputy Governor Francis Mwangangi says the move will ensure resilience against climate change as well as boosting the local economy through sustainable practices. Mwangangi encouraged farmers to embrace new technologies in the face of climate change and pressure for land use.
Work closely to ensure what our farmers are doing is what is technology-based, technology-backed, and what will lead to proper agricultural mechanization. That is the only way to kick out poverty amongst ourselves.
Almost 5 in 10 banking customers prefer mobile transactions over the counter transactions. According to the latest banking customer satisfaction survey by the KPMG, the surge in mobile banking transaction is due to a youthful banking population in the country. The research further shows 42% of the banked population in Kenya use mobile app as their preferred channel to interact with the bank branch ranking second at 24% and at least preferred option being internet banking at 4%.
Mobile transactions is due to a youthful customer base with an average age of 32 years. The youthful population transact frequently to meet their basic needs such as food, rent and education. Lenders have been encouraged to enhance the customer experience for customers by leveraging emerging technologies such as artificial intelligence and machine learning to design products that meet the need of the youthful bankers. According to the latest banking customer satisfaction survey by the KPMG, excellent customer experience overrides other considerations for customers, including the cost of banking service. Despite this, the report says customers are, however, sensitive to charges, and those that prefer branch customer experience choose the channel due to less banking charges. The survey says banked Kenyans use their money to purchase basic needs and form a big part of the expenditure of the Kenyan households. The top 3 expenditure items include food at 17.71%, housing and rent at 17.21%, while education comes third at 11.54%. Beson Rioba reporting for Lunchtime News.
The Kenya Investment Authority, through its One Start, One Stop shop, is coordinating with other key agencies to facilitate entry of Chinese investors eyeing the fashion industry as a way to boost trade. Kenya Investment Authority Promotion Senior Officer Caleb Tanui says exhibitions are avenues to position local fashion and lifestyle entrepreneurs for global collaboration, cultural exchange, economic growth and innovations.
The top 3 expenditure items include food, rent and education, while education comes third at 11.54%. Beson Rioba reporting for Lunchtime News.
Cultural exchange, economic growth and innovations.
We understand the importance of promoting trade and investment between our two regions. We believe that by fostering strong partnership and creating an enabling environment for business to thrive, we can unlock new opportunities for growth and prosperity. We are also looking at areas of innovation. So we are embracing the innovation and technology.
When you invest here, you will have access to a youthful, trainable, and productive labor pool with a strong work ethic and a very low attrition rate. For your information, Kenya's literacy rate stands at 82%, one of highest in Africa.
Now, Kenyans continue to express varied reactions to the proposed multi-sectoral task force to discuss pressing issues facing the nation that was announced by President William Ruto early this week. Now, Migori Governor Ochilo Ayako is of the view that the dialogue should be given a chance as it is the best way the nation can navigate itself out of the myriad of challenges it is currently facing.
Mimi kama youth wa Migori nimesema hakuna mambo ya dialogue. What we need to discuss, we give you a period like 14 days, you implement what we want.
So lazima dialogue ikue. Hakuna kitu ambacho kinawezekana without sitting down and dialogue together. If you can't dialogue, then hakuna mahali tunaenda.
The new constitution was a struggle, and all these struggles start out there as protests, as demonstrations, but ultimately it is through dialogue, it is through discussions that the people can cut through the noise, people can sieve political differences, ideological differences, and reduce the discussions into implementable resolutions.
And now finally, let's play. National 15-a-side rugby team Simba's head coach Jerome Powwater says his team is determined to reclaim the African title when they take part in this year's Rugby African Cup set to be held in Uganda. Now, Powwater has already unveiled his final squad for the continental event set to be held between the 18th and the 29th of this month at the Mandela National Stadium in Kampala. The team, which last won the Africa 15-side rugby title in 2013, sees the return of the experienced trio Malcolm Onado, Samson Onsumo and Michael Wanjala. The team is set to leave the country on the 18th of this month and will open their campaign against Senegal 2 days later. And internationally, Colombia will play Argentina in the Copa America final on Sunday morning in Miami after beating Uruguay 1-0 in their semi-final played this morning in the United States. Argentina qualified for the final thanks to a 2-0 win over Canada on Wednesday morning.
Colombia secured a narrow 1-0 victory over Uruguay in the Copa America semi-final, advancing to their third final in history. Jefferson Lemar scored the lone goal from a James Rodriguez corner in the 39th minute, amidst an electrifying atmosphere at Bank of America Stadium in Charlotte, witnessed by over 70,000 fans. Colombia finished the work with 10 men after Daniel Munoz received a red card just before half-time. With the assist, James Rodriguez became became the first South American player to record 6 assists in a major tournament since Pelé did it for Brazil at the 1970 World Cup. Despite Uruguay's relentless efforts in the second half, including several near misses by Darwin Núñez and Luis Suarez, they failed to breach Colombia's defense and bowed out of the tournament. Colombia's path to the final has been remarkable, extending the unbeaten streak to a national record 28 games. In an epic final at Hard Rock Stadium in Miami on Sunday morning, Colombia will face Argentina, who defeated Canada 2-0 in the first semi-final on Wednesday morning.
And now to Europe, where Ollie Watkins netted a winning goal in the dying minutes of England's semi-final game against Netherlands last night to push England through to the final of Euro 2024, where they will play Spain on Sunday night in Berlin. It was the second successive final for England at the Euros after losing to Italy in the previous final 4 years ago. The jubilation by Ollie Watkins, the Aston Villa striker, says it all. It is La Roja versus the Three Lions in the final of Euro 2024. Of course, we'll tell you what happens in that particular final. Also in the Copa America final, where Colombia is set to take on the champions, who are Argentina. But as I told you earlier, we're keeping a close eye on State House Nairobi, given that the president is set to address the nation any moment from now. It is exactly 51 minutes past the hour. At exactly 2 p.m., the president is set to talk to you, and of course you can listen it through our various channels, that is YouTube and online as well. What I want to leave you is images from State House Nairobi. My name is Abdiaziz Hashim. The co-anchor is Lensa Odingo. Good afternoon for now.
The film Mvera, produced in the coast, centers on Mvera, a female character driven by two primary objectives: a quest to reunite with her estranged mother and a desperate bid to skip poverty.
Kwani walichagua tu kivipi? Mimi sitaki kuishi hapa maisha yangu yote.
Her desperation would see her stop at nothing to turn her misfortunes into fortunes. Little does she know this would lead her down a path of treachery. Mvera is a part of a group of youth who jump at an opportunity offered by a local politician known as the BT to work abroad, an opportunity that quickly turns into a nightmare.
Wanapanga kutuua. Tutafanya nini?
Hii ni concept ambayo tulitengeneza kwa ajili kwa tunakuja na idea ya a modern Mekatilili. At first nilikuwa nataka kushoot story ya Mekatilili kwa ajili hizo ndo stories tumekuwa tukizisikiza tangu tuwe wadogo, lakini budget yake ilikuwa expensive kiasi ya Mekatilili. Ndo nikajiambia kuwa ni time ya sisi kutengeneza stories ambazo ziko kwa muda huu. Ni story ambayo yatuonyesha jinsi ambao kila mtu saizi hapa coast akimaliza form 4, yeye kila mtu ataka kwenda kusafiri nje ya nchi, hataki kufanya kazi kwa nchi yake. So ni vitu ambazo tuna grow tukiziona, na ni challenges ambao mimi mwenyewe nishaona kwa one of the people ambao namjua imemwaffect.
David Anguka, the film director, tells us there were 9 drafts of the script before they settled on the final storyline. The cast was also carefully selected.
Niliamua cast wote watakuwa Mombasa. Extras wote watakuwa villagers and nilichukua mahesabu mengi sana kufikiria hivyo, kwa ajili kumbuka una invest kwa project ya pesa, kwa cast pia unatarajia uwe na cast ambao wako na numbers ili ndio waweze kusukuma ile kipindi, but kwangu hiyo haikuwa important. Kwangu kitu important ilikuwa ni performance na story, which ambao kwa tumewakia najua kwa uwezo. Na wakati nililocast yangu niliwaambia tumekuwa tukishoot TV series sana, leo sasa hivi tunashoot feature film, nataka wa change style yao ya performance.
Production of the movie took 3 weeks. So how was the filming behind the scenes?
Nakumbuka kwanza scenario moja tukifanya scene moja ambayo ilikuwa ni technical. Ilikuwa fatu roll gari. Place tulipanga fa hiyo gari yanguke. Hiyo gari ilienda ikapita hiyo shimo, ikapita location ambapo tumeiset isimamie, na ilikuwa inateremka, na najua hiyo kama ingeendelea kuteremka ile jamaa saa hizi ingekuwa tunasema hayuko duniani. Nashukuru Mungu tuliweza kupata vipande kidogo katika hiyo scene, but tunashukuru ile jamaa pia hakuweza kuumia hivyo. First tukilaunch mvera ilikuwa ni Cinemax and the reception ilikuwa top notch. Watu walikuja walisupport. Nadhani for the first time kwa industry ya Mombasa Cinemax kuweza kuja 2 halls na watu bado wanataka ticket, na hiyo ni kwa ajili ya mvera. Imechange world ya audience, wale walikuwa bado wa support local content, and hii inaonyesha kuwa tukitengeneza project first of all tufikirie Africa na countries zote, iwe Europe na wapi itaweza consume project zetu.
As the reality of the situation unfolds, Mvera embarks on a dangerous journey to escape and warn her community about the beat's true nature. The stakes are high, as the very man who deceived them is on the brink of becoming governor. He is a master of deceit, selling hope but delivering hopelessness. Will she make it in time to stop him?
Njoo nyumbani haraka, la sivyo nyanyako amefariki.
Sai filamu ya Mvera iko ndani ya Netflix. Make sure umesubscribe kwa ndani ya Netflix, uweze kuchukua app yako, na kuna movies nyingi, lakini kwanza tunakuomba ukiingia angalia movie ya Mvera, kwa ajili ukisupport local content hapo pia sisi saidi yetu sinema inazidi kutamba.
Jacqueline Basharia for Cinemas and Theatre.
season. Enjoy na GoTV. Beste yako wafuta. Tuna connect na ligi zote. Jisikie